From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
The 10-year Treasury goes out of control, continues to surge. The White House passes it off as much of nothing. Meantime, Bitcoin is going through the roof overnight as well, as tech continues to slump. What does this mean across the country as millions of Americans await their fourth stimulus check to land in their bank account? Americans are waiting for an economy that would rebound, that is stable across the land. The president says that stability is coming. But what the president's not saying publicly is that he wants to pay children under the age of 18 $250 a month for 18 years of their life. The question is, where is this money going to come from? And what will Wall Street say on Monday when they hear the news? Wall Street crashes into Monday with concerns about growing interest rates, about falling technology, about too much growth in this economy and too much spending. The question is whether the spending is going the right direction or the wrong direction. While $14 stimulus checks are landing in your bank account Friday, Saturday, and Monday, when are third stimulus checks for other items coming as well? And what could this mean about fourth stimulus? I have all the big details as the final hour of LALATE gets underway now with Afternoons LALATE starting right now. Is it time to sound the alarm or time to celebrate? That's sort of the mixed bag that we're dealing with. On a Sunday afternoon, how are you? Congratulations, you're getting a $14 stimulus check. And it started to land in millions of Americans' bank accounts on Friday. In the video right before this, we had a wonderful Q&A. And in that Q&A, I answered a lot of fake narratives, said a lot of conjecture and folklore, and got a lot of things settled. $14 stimulus checks did start appearing on Friday. They continued on Saturday, and more will appear on Monday. They're not a result of who you are, or what last name you are, or what state you live in, or what benefits you have. It's all the result of who you bank with. Who you bank with. Not one, not two, but all of the IRS tracking tools are not reliable. So if you use them and you don't get the information you see that you want, don't freak out. They're not reliable instruments. Direct deposits started on Friday and will continue on Monday. Paper checks will come thereafter. But what about the other big money under the third stimulus package? That's coming as well. $5,000 across the board for most of the viewers of this channel, whether it's hazard pay or rent or EIDL. There's a lot of deliciousness happening in today's recording. But what I want to start with first is this. This is not something bueno. And here we are. What you're looking at is the 10-year Treasury note. The 10-year Treasury note, you are looking at the movement of it. The 10-year Treasury note was generally staying stable throughout 2020. But earlier last month, it started to move, 1.5. People were concerned about the 1.5 increase. Now understand, you go from 1.0 to 1.5 in 1 week. That's a lot. Well, what next could be on the horizon? You see the growth in just the last tip of this chart. You see that uptick at the very end. This is where Wall Street is concerned. In the last few days, you're seeing how this chart has really grown just suddenly. In the last few days, it has tried to break out, and there is that massive surge. You see it went from 1.0 to 1.5, and it's tried to break to 1.64. It did it in two little peaks you see there, and these are not good numbers. What does this mean? 1, concerns about inflation. 2, concerns about massive growth. 3, concerns that the economy may be overstimulated by the Treasury or the Federal Reserve or both. And this is another chart right today. And this chart is from is from Bitcoin. And this chart shows a massive surge and a lot of speculative buying. A good signal? No. A sign of a bubble? Perhaps. If you look at the bottom of the chart, you see a massive red spike of a bar. What is that? That refers to the activity. It shows more activity in just a short period of time than you see in nearly this entire chart. In fact, the bar is almost 3 times the height of any other red bar, showing that volatility and speculation is at full steam ahead. Good sign? It is not. If you went on social media over the weekend, Stimmy was trending on Twitter with people saying they were going to spend their Stimmy on speculative stocks. Is this where the economy is going? Is it a bubble? It's all impacting other companies like the following. Here is a text company. This is Microsoft. The Microsoft chart shows a downturn as the treasury surge. This is what's happening across the country. As technology pulls back, the treasury surges. And as the surging of the treasury continues, you could see a massive Wall Street crash. This is how it would play out. It's not a speculative situation. It's a very anticipated event. The event would start as the following. You would see the 10-year Treasury note, currently at 1.614, make another abrupt move upward. How abrupt is abrupt? I would say anything above a 1.65 would cause you concerns. It causes you concerns no matter what walk of life it is. First, if you're on SSI and SSDI, it's a cause of concern for you because it means that it expects inflationary prices, massive price gouging occurring across consumer staples. So while you see milk and eggs going up now, that could signal milk and eggs prices going through the roof. Inflation, higher prices. 1.64, a big concern. 1.66, really a big concern. 1.7, better get a blanket to wrap your ears with because you're going to hear a lot of screams on that downward slide. What's important to understand is that you can certainly tell by looking at me, I'm not in my 20s. But as Jim Cramer recently said a few days ago, most of the investors today who make videos and talk about things are people who are in their 20s who have never lived during a bear market. They have never lived when they bought a stock and it lost 80% of its value. They've only seen good times and don't know what bad times is. This is very important because there's no way to assess risk when you're falling. And when you're falling, you don't know how to get out. So what does this mean for stimulus? It means a lot because guess what the president did on Friday? On Friday, the president said something that no one anticipated. And that message was the following, that he wants $250 a month for 18 years paid to children permanently. This is really surprising. Let me explain what's going on. Under the third stimulus package, if you have a child 17 or younger, you're going to get a lot of stimulus. And that stimulus is really great news. Let me go over those calculations right now. If you have a child 17 to 6, you're going to get $3,000 plus a $1,400 stimulus check. The $3,000 is paid the following way. $250 a month starting the month of July for 12 months. If the child is 5 to newborn, you're going to get $5,000 paid the following way. $300 a month for 12 months plus a $1,400 stimulus check. The total amount is either $5,000 or $4,400. Now, what did the president do on Friday? A massive report from Politico reports that the president had a conference call with not one but several top Democratic House members. And those House members have been pushing to make what I just described to you a permanent law, minus the stimulus check. That children 17 with 6 would get $3,000 a year or $3,600 a year for 18 years. Imagine what Wall Street is going to say on Monday. On Wall Street will get the first reaction to the suggestion that the fourth stimulus package may have massive spending that is not just for stimulus, but over 18 years. The question is, how will America react? In 2020, we had heard a lot from Mitch McConnell and the Republicans talk about they don't like deficit spending in a short term. This is not short term. This is 18 years. Now, countless viewers in the chat right now and throughout the chats have always talked about where is that SSI or SSDI of $2,400 a month. The push is underway for that in fourth stimulus. How about reoccurring stimulus checks? Yes, there's a separate push for that, not from the president himself, but from Democrats who have written the president from both houses of Congress demanding reoccurring stimulus checks. The push came in two forms. It came from House Democrats and it came from Senate Democrats. They wrote the president and said, when you do the next stimulus package, we're going to demand reoccurring stimulus checks across the land. We're going to demand stimulus checks every month, and we're going to hold out any other any future legislation unless we get that. Who would get these stimulus checks? All viewers of this channel who make less than $75,000 would get this stimulus check, whether you're adult or dependent, whether you're on SSI or SSDI. This is singularly the best news you could hope for, because when you look at the numbers, if it's $2,000 a month for 6 months, guess what? That's more than $2,400 of SSI and SSDI. If it's $2,000 for 6 months, it's more than hazard pay. And if it's $2,000 a month for 6 months, it's more than FPUC retro. So suddenly, this push, which actually is getting enormous traction, pays you a lot more than anything we had ever hoped for on this channel. Collectively, what I want you to know for information purposes is that suddenly, while the push is underway for FPUC retro, SSI, and SSDI, hazard pay, and multiple stimulus checks, this multiple stimulus check push is so huge in value that it could pay you a lot more than any of those other packages are almost combined. It's really good news. So would it work? It would work. A series of interviews this weekend showed both Nancy Pelosi and Janet Yellen telling Broadcast News that the next bill is around the corner. Now, the next bill has a lot of names to it: infrastructure bill, climate bill, job creation bill. But the bottom line is Wall Street understands it's a stimulus package. It's a stimulus package to get people back to work and to get people back to normal. And with that, stimulus would be in there. The push from those Democrats are about the next bill, and they are holding out votes unless they have the relief they want in there. So would you get that stimulus check in addition to this one? Yes. Would it come before other items in the stimulus package? Well, this is a very interesting twist. A lot of the items of the third stimulus package come in a few weeks. A lot come later. Let's go over each of them one at a time. The children's check, which I talked about a second, starts in the month of July. So that's not around the corner. This stimulus package would likely get passed far before that. Number two, the rent, utilities, and food may take upwards of 8 weeks to get to the states to pay you out the money, and of course mortgage as well. So that could also come after the fourth stimulus. Then, how about the student aid and the paid sick leave? Hard to tell about that one. Finally, the EIDL grant. That would come right away. That would certainly come before the fourth stimulus package. So you see how among the items that you're looking for in the third stimulus package, you get a lot of money. But some, like the second stimulus package, may come later than you would want them to come. You're getting a $14 stimulus check. It will land in your bank account electronically if you're set up for direct deposit between now and the next few days. Viewers started getting it on Fridays. Other viewers got it on Saturday. More will get it on Monday. It's not a factor of what you are or who you are, but who you bank with. But what is next going to come to you? The next automatic item is the children 3,600 or 3,000. After that else, nothing else is automatic. Everything is application based. And that is a lot of money available for you, upwards of $5,000 to $20,000. But that money may not land until fourth stimulus starts paying you out stimulus checks. Yes, that's how a strange twist is happening across the board. That is why things are heating up, not this week, not last week, but the week before. Bernie Sanders was among those two letters sent to the president. There was one letter from the Democrats in the Senate, and then there was a series of letters that were from hundreds of House members sent to the president as well. Those messages were the same: reoccurring monthly stimulus checks until we're done. But has the president mentioned them? Not yet. The president has not mentioned them. What has the president mentioned? Again, on Friday in a conference call, he mentioned about making $250 a month for 18 years a permanent law to pay children a lot of money over the first 18 years of their life. Is it ever going to fly under the current administration with the current economy? No, because it would require funding, and there isn't current funding in this economy to pay for it. So where would it come for the funding? It would come from raising taxes. And this singularly would not be good news for Wall Street. Wall Street would not be excited about raising taxes. Across the land, millions of Americans are trying to get back to normal. And getting back to normal means getting a job, getting a stimulus check, going back to work, having your bills paid off. And the first notion of the concern is that suddenly there could be raised taxes to pay for 18 years of $250 a month for young children by millions of Americans. Now, the president has not explained where he would get the money for these programs, but it's certainly clear that he wants this a lifetime provision. And as we look at this big, massive chart of the 10-year Treasury, this is of concern. This is of concern because as you see this very sharp increase in just a few weeks, let's go out even further and see what it has done in just a few days. Look at the surge. This is not something to cough at. Ultimately, any surge like this, of this magnitude, is a big question mark. And the question mark is what could happen next. I'll be back with you shortly, but first, here is a little bit about the community page and more about today's programming schedule. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. It's a big day as millions of Americans start to receive their $14 third stimulus check. Who are the three groups that receive direct deposits of that $14 third stimulus check? Three groups. First, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits, and you have your direct deposit information already on file with your benefit administration, then you're getting your stimulus check by direct deposit. Next, if you're an individual who received your first and second stimulus check electronically, you're getting it as well. Finally, third, if you filed a 2020 tax return and that 2020 tax return shows processed, then you may get it. Finally, if you filed a 2020 tax return and it shows processing, it's not going to help. It's too late to the ball game. Millions of Americans started to receive the stimulus checks on Friday. More got on Saturday. The rest will get them starting tomorrow. The receipt of the stimulus check is not impacted by your last name, where you live, whether you're on Social Security or Railroad benefits or SSI or SSDI. It's all in a factor of whether you bank at this bank or that bank. Bank processing has been a big topic of discussion on this channel for over 9 months. And during that time, viewers have always asked, why does my bank do this? Another viewer, why does my bank do that? Ultimately, banks can do what banks want to do. And some banks have announced they're not releasing your stimulus check until the 17th. Understand that the banks do have the funds and they could release the funds now. They have chosen not to. That's not to say that funds aren't being sent out to the 17th. Oh no, the banks have the funds. Several viewers of this channel, countless viewers of this channel, have received the funds and they are now in their hands. Those are anyone from commercial banks to big banks, from credit unions to also thin banks. They've gotten those stimulus payments and they're on their way. Throughout the day, we've had a lot of fun by going over some of the fake narratives and some of the truth and false. There's been a lot of questions and a lot of confusion about when and where. Some of those questions have stemmed from people talking about an unpaid cell phone bill from 10 years, and that cell phone company is going to come and take your stimulus check. And then other people have talked about crazy stuff like no one's checks are coming until that day. Ultimately, if you tune into this channel and you hit that subscribe button and you stay with me throughout the day, you'll see the questions answered. Throughout the commercial break, I saw a lot of questions by viewers, and needless to say, I'm happy that all those questions are things that I've already covered throughout today's videos. Needless to say, I do repeat myself now and then, so I may cover it again for you as well. But every question that have been asked by viewers in some of the comments I saw during the commercial break have been asked and answered in a lot of videos throughout the day. So if you don't see the particular question you're asking about in here covered in this video, watch another video. Throughout the day, we've had videos on business grants, to the direct deposit, to even a special video about the IRS tool and whether it works, how it works, and how it doesn't help and how it sometimes helps. We've had a separate video specifically about the March 17th date, and we've had another video about true and false of the folklore that's hitting with the stimulus check. Needless to say, I'm even surprised that there's actually that many stimulus check confusions happening this time around. I think it's a little bit more than last time. In prior stimulus check rollouts, many viewers got them by paper and by debit card. This time it seems that a lot of people really wanted it by direct deposit. And by wanting with direct deposit, it's caused a feeling that it should come faster than it physically can come. Ultimately, it could have come on Friday for you. It could have come on Saturday. But the best way to know what day it lands in your bank account is the following. Ask other people in chats of this video, of this channel, if they bank at your bank and see if they got their check yet. That is the best indicator. If two people bank at the same bank, they will both likely get the stimulus check within 24 hours of one another. One might get in the morning, one might get in the evening, but they're likely to get it on exactly the same day. Doesn't matter what state you're in, just that you bank at the same banking institution. Finally, if you want to change the date to receive the stimulus check, that's not possible either. There's always someone who thinks that they can physically change the date by doing something like calling or texting or complaining is not a way to physically change that as well. And there we are. Let's cut over back to forced stimulus. What's happening with forced stimulus is the President of the United States is heating up news this weekend as Politico is reporting that the President is now considering a lifetime child care tax credit. Basically, if you're under age 18, you would get $250 a month for 18 years. This is as other Democrats are saying, stop paying money to young people and start paying people older than them $2,000 a month to the end of this pandemic. A series of Democrats, both in the House and also in the Senate, have been writing the president letters saying do reoccurring stimulus checks in the next stimulus package. They have not said the amount, but it presumably is $2,000. And would show that the stimulus is different than just for children. Meantime, a push is underway for FPUC retro. Ron Wyden has said if you give him enough Democrats, he'll support it as well. SSI and SSDI still has its push. But ultimately, if you run the math and look at the numbers, a stimulus check every month for 6 months compared to FPUC retro, it's more than that. Compared to SSI $2,400, it's triple that. Compared to hazard pay, it's more than that. And compared to anything else that we have pushed for on this channel, it's a lot more than that. So the good news is that the only subject that both houses of Congress are pushing for is the biggest payout that would pay all of you a lot more than everything else that we have argued for. Reoccurring stimulus checks being pushed by Democrats would pay more than SSI, more than FPUC retro, and more than hazard pay. And that ultimately we need to continue to give them that support. We have to continue to give those Democrats those support while they push for that. Across the land, there's going to be a lot of pushes for things in the fourth stimulus package. But $250 a month for 18 years for children is not particularly stimulus. It's a lifetime payout. And with no explanation of where this money is coming from, the obvious suggestion is raising your taxes. Raising your taxes is not something Wall Street will like. And if they're not raising your taxes, guess what the reaction is going to be? This chart. Interest rates. Interest rates will continue to rise because of if the White House intends to spend an enormous sum of money of $250 a month for 18 years for a kid. That's going to be an enormous amount of spending by the government, and the interest rates, the 10-year Treasury, which you're looking at now, would go up as well. Big developments across the board, and I have another surprise for you coming up in a second. But first, what's up next? Up next is purple. Not 5, not 10, not 20, but $25,000 money right now, not 5 days from now, not 5 weeks from now. In addition to the normal purple, I also have now in purple the coverage about that $10,200 of unemployment benefits. So if you have a question about that $10,000 or $200 of unemployment benefits, it's covered in there. I also go over missing items now in purple, which is missing stimulus checks, first, second, and third. And I also go over the hazard pay, EID, the earned income tax credit, and other tax credits. So purple's expanding. It's basically now not only money for rent, utilities, food, and internet, unemployment, and grants, but also any other money that's available for you, but you're not sure where to get it. So tune into that video coming up right after this. And guess what? A big surprise. This morning you saw the return of Early Mornings LALATE. Thank you for your patronage. You had asked for its return. I love bringing it back, and it's back in the lineup. So it's back every morning, Early Mornings LALATE, with new shows every morning, especially for our East Coast viewers. And tonight, yes, the return of Evenings LALATE. Evenings LALATE returns this channel with new shows starting tonight. So tune in as Evenings LALATE kicks into high gear with everything from your stimulus to Wall Street coming up tonight. If you've not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe on this channel. If you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. And for anyone who joined as a member during today's video and I missed it, my apologies. Also, consider liking this video. It helps in the algorithm rankings. Stay with me as Purple's underway next as Afternoons LALATE continues.